As it was mentioned in the previous episodes, Great Lechia was a worldwide empire, which controlled a vast majority of Earth's surface during its golden age. Unfortunately, due to internal conflicts, Lechia, despite millennia of dominance, gradually lost its power and was eventually defeated in the Great Shapist War. This resulted in a complete annihilation of the empire. Countless smaller countries emerged on its former territory, but they quickly became puppet states under Masons' influence. The memory of Great Lechia vanished over time as Masons introduced ideological genocides on culture and history. Around 500th year Anno Domini, only the regions where the empire originated from remained aware of the truth. The remnants of Magnate Estate, the most influential social class in Lechia, besides wizards, opposed the occupiers and formed a resistance movement that later was called Underground Lechian State. For almost 2,000 years, the Masons were striving to destroy the rebels and secure their hegemony over the earth. However, as the time went on, Masons became distracted with conflicts between different factions of theirs. This resulted in NASRA being put in control of all Masons with a vile goal of controlling the whole human species. They know that to remain in power, they need to entirely wipe out the resistance of Great Lechia and its truth-seeking people. To achieve this, they first attempted a deslavization of Europe, but this plan folded when internal strife and the loss of ancient technologies became too severe. Still fearing the possibility of a flat-earthian country emerging, they've decided to create collaborative governments in Slavic lands, which would be either influenced or directly controlled by Masonic groups. However, their new scheme fell short of its goals, and soon, thanks to skillful political maneuvers, Lechites began influencing these new states. This culminated in the creation of Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, which from its beginning in 1569 was secretly controlled by Lenin King Wojciech I. Unfortunately, around 1692 Masons realized their grand mistake and immediately organized a special military operation, nowadays called Crusade Against the Truth, which overcame and massacred pro-Flat Earth forces. Many of the enlightened were killed that year, including Wojciech himself. However, Lechitic spirit survived. During the Spring of Nations in the 19th century, a virtuous writer and thinker, Karl Marx, published his famous Communist Manifesto. Although the pamphlet promotes radical and seemingly disconnected ideas, in reality, it serves as a secret call to arms for the Lechitic nation. The Marxist ideas are actually based on the historic doctrine of communarchy created and implemented with profound success in the Great Lechia. Sadly, Karl's writings were warped by NASRA's agents as to make them unworkable and cause even more turmoil amongst Slavs. That is also exactly what Masons did to other famous intellectuals and explorers, such as Isaac Newton, Mikołaj Kopernik, and Krzysztof Kolumb. All of them knew about the flatness of Earth, obviously, and were killed for helping the truth-seekers develop the right theories. Their works and achievements were later altered to make those Nobel men seem like round earthers, while in reality, they were the most opposed to the lies. This is one of the more sophisticated ways in which overlords execute the genocide of history and culture, the very thing George Orwell warned us about. Despite numerous setbacks, the resistance continued growing, and by 1917 so many Slavic people have been motivated to oppose totalitarian NASRA that a true revolution broke out. Lenin closely cooperated with the truth-seeking movement, and thanks to Lechitic support, managed to crash Masonic forces in central Russia. Sadly, not long after, in August of 1918, Lenin was poisoned with a special mind-washing serum. Despite Sanjaya's attempt at synthesizing a remedy, the Soviet leader was fully subjugated by evil forces, which made him reverse the progress against NASRA and attack Poland. Lenin died shortly afterwards, and Masons put in power Stalin, who fully gave up on the idea of a new Lechia. Another crisis for the underground Lechian state happened in 20th century when NASRA's most radical forces began operating independently from the rest of Freemasonry. A group called NSDAP took control over Germany and transformed it into the Third Reich. Initially, no Masonic power intervened, hoping that Germans were truly only planning to eradicate the Slavs. The overlords intended to utilize Nazis as a mean of humiliating true historic events and symbols by having the Germans use them as their own. Example being the Hindu sign of peace or the ancient Aryan nation. Soon, however, it became apparent that the Reich was not aimed only at the Slavs and flat earthers, but first and foremost at world domination. They managed to get all Masons of the shogunate and some of Mussolini's macaronis on their side, and if given even a few more years, they would have also convinced others. Fortunately, after the Western countries formed a powerful coalition, the Nazis were defeated. Lenin resistance once again survived, but it was unable to develop due to Soviet occupation of Eastern Europe. The few surviving wizards scattered around the disk in order to preach the truth to anyone who would listen. Nowadays, the underground Lechian state still exists with its own king, Sanjaya I. In recent years, he brought into existence a secret confederation of autonomous organizations designated with enlightening societies worldwide. One such fellowship is Perspective and Scrupulousness, which we are a part of. Sanjaya is currently hiding in Silesia, despite a recent war between Masons and Czechs, which hidden objective was to find and imprison him. Although he is being tracked at all times, he still risks his freedom by spreading the truth by a light side of the Force organization. And this is precisely why educating people about the flatness of Earth and history of Lechia is the most important goal for all the right-minded.